Welcome back to Creating Cooperative Kids. I'm your host, Bill Corbett. If you're just joining us, regular viewers know that I use the last segment to answer viewer questions that come into my email box. Now, to send me your parenting question, simply send an email to questions@cooperativekids.com, and perhaps I'll select yours on a future episode. First, let me introduce my panel of guests who will help me answer today's question. Jill Spinetti is the President and CEO of the Governor's Prevention Partnership of Connecticut. Judy Cohen is an author and former school guidance counselor. And Battelle Arnold is a talk show host and certified Christian life coach. Now, the question for today's show comes to us from a father living in Cape Town, South Africa. He writes, "How can I ensure that my son lives a better life than I do?" So this is kind of a loaded question. We don't know a lot about why he's asking that question. And first of all, I want to thank you so much for sending your question into the show. And hopefully we'll be able to provide an answer. I think one of the first things I want to say, and then I'm going to turn over my panel, if you could each kind of offer a tip, is the first way of being able to do that is to first acknowledge that your life was less than respectable, that you understand that you made mistakes, that people hurt you, whatever the situation was, and that you first acknowledge that you want something better for your child. Because some parents don't know the difference, and they recreate their life for their children. So I will first want to commend you, sir, for recognizing the importance of doing that. So now I'm going to turn it over to my panel. If we just take a turn and kind of offer one thing to address this father's question, what you would say to him. Jill, do you want to start?
Well, I also commend the viewer, Bill. You know, that takes a lot of courage to speak up like that. What I would say is to be really honest with your children. You can't go back and undo the past, but you can tell them about the mistakes you made and tell them that you wish it wasn't that way. And sometimes children have to learn hard lessons through you. If it comes to drugs and alcohol, I always recommend to parents that they talk about their own history with that, or whatever mistakes were made, and to work through it together. So not try to be a super parent, not try to push it away.
That's a really good point, because we're sometimes afraid to reveal to our children that we had a less than good life. But it's good to say, you know what, I messed up.
Right.
I made mistakes, and you know what, you don't have to.
Right.
And to help them see the result of those mistakes. So very good point.
Thank you.
Judy.
Well, I think it's very important to keep the lines of communication open and to be there for your child and to really not just talk to him, but to talk with him and listen to what he has to say. I don't know how old this youngster is. You weren't telling us. However, if the youngster is little, get down to his level, you know. Don't just talk from up here and look way down at him. Sit down when you talk to him. If he's a teenager or something, you know, you could be more at his level and look him in the eyes when you talk. When he responds to you, don't have yourself thinking of a million different things. Really listen to what he has to say. It's his story, not your story. If he does screw up, if he makes a mistake, then you can share with him the mistakes that you made as well. And tell him we all make mistakes. We only learn from making our mistakes, that no one is perfect. And it takes guts to be imperfect. And I think that's very, very important for a child to understand.
You know, you make a very good point, because I think parents oftentimes, they try to create a perfect child. They want the child, you know, and then when the child makes a mistake, they do what our parents did, come after us with punishment and anger. But that mistake is, it's a learning opportunity.
Absolutely.
And if you yell and punish the child for a mistake, what do they learn? They only learn to protect themselves from you, which robs them of the opportunity of learning from that experience.
Absolutely. You're
So
absolutely
very
right,
good
Bill.
point. You know what? We want them to feel like they're really heard, that they are valued, that they're important, and you know what that's going to do? That's going to make them want to talk to you more.
Absolutely.
And they're going to share more with you. They're going to open up more, and they're really going to feel like, wow, I've got a great dad, I've got a great mom. And so the good point is, stop your mind chatter. Don't automatically say what's on your mind. Let them talk.
Thank you.
Good point.
I agree with what the ladies, what you've all have said. I think sometimes parents carry a lot of guilt, thinking I've made so many mistakes, I've done, you know, I should do this, I shouldn't do that. Sometimes it's difficult to ensure anything, but one thing that I am going to say is that pray. You know, ask God to help you in this relationship that you have with your child. And that way, you have that available to you, prayer. Have your child just live what you want your child to be.
And what you're mentioning, prayer, is so important because, and if some families don't pray, you know what? It's the silence. The silence, whether you choose to pray or not, or meditate in that moment, amazing things happen when you go to be by yourself. And of course, I'm a believer that there's a greater power in this world that created amazing things. And if when you're alone, you'll hear the answers that you're looking for. And so when you teach by example and teach your child that it's important to be alone, shutting off the iPods and the stereos and all those kinds of things, we really get the answers to the problems that we have. Look, I thank you so much for coming back on and really sharing what we were going to talk about. And you, all three of you did a fantastic job in helping me to answer this viewer's questions. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Helping our children to become responsible and successful individuals begins with forgiving those who hurt us in the past and forgiving our own mistakes. Then it requires establishing clear, firm, and unconditionally loving boundaries for our own children. I hope you'll tune into future episodes of this program as I offer more tools to help you rebuild your parenting toolbox as an awesome parent or teacher. Now, if you'd like to get this program in your local viewing area, contact my office to find out how. See, making the world a better place to live begins at home as engaged, encouraged, and masterful parents. I'm Bill Corbett. I'll see you the next time on Creating Cooperative Kids.